Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com and YouTube. I am the owner of NoDQ on Rift. Just got back from Las Vegas this weekend. Got to see Brock Lesnar's last fight. Got to meet Penn and Teller. Got to see an awesome fireworks display right on the strip. Didn't lose too much money gambling. Had some good food. So all in all, a very memorable experience. And thank you guys for your comments regarding the trip. And now it's time to get back down to business. Got a lot of questions here built up over the past week, so let's just dive right in. I've never seen a worse comeback promo, if you can call it that. What did you think of Jericho's return? I give the fans a lot of credit for being so patient with him, but then I did start hearing the boos. I was not able to see Raw as it happened because I was still in Las Vegas at the time, but last night I did check out Raw, and you know, when I posted the poll on NoDQ.com, it was largely negative. Most of the people did not like it. I'm like, wow, this had to be really bad for Chris Jericho to return, and most of the fans are still giving Raw a thumbs down rating. So I was going into it expecting it to be really bad, and when I finally saw it, I loved it. I thought that it was an awesome return for Chris Jericho because it was something different. It wasn't predictable. I thought he was just going to come out there, and I guess this is what most people were expecting, that he would come out there and say, oh, well, I'm the real best in the world at what I do, and CM Punk calls himself the best in the world, and people thought that Jericho would explain the whole reasoning behind the promos and what the videos were about. The fact that he just came out and totally screwed with the fans, he smiled, he was over the top, and the people just kept cheering him, and then he just finally walked out, and finally at the end, the people realized that they had been had, and they finally started to boo him. I just thought it was brilliant. You know, Chris Jericho came out there and just fucked with the fans. And, yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see where it goes. Now, I know that in the past with WWE, when they do these storylines where you tune in next week to see what happens, and you want to see what the follow-up is, that WWE has let people down. Now, with Chris Jericho, he has a lot of control over his storylines, and pretty much everything Jericho did over the past 3-4 years was his idea, and it was always very entertaining and was well done. So, you know, I have a lot of confidence in Chris Jericho that this will go somewhere and that it will lead to something, and it's all part of the new direction of his character, so we'll just have to wait and see. But I expect good things to come. And here somebody says, what was the point of the It Begins and the End promos? Jericho came back happy where the video showed something dark, and on top of that, Jericho didn't explain anything. Like I said, I think that Jericho has had an idea. You know, he had over a year and a half to plan out what he was going to do when he returned. So I think this is just the beginning of something bigger, and I think people should just wait and see what happens here and not jump to conclusions. Like I said, I think everything was done by design. Him coming out there and just being over the top. And even at the end, he gave this really cheesy... Oh, there's a cameo by the cat with his tail. Get out of here. So as I was trying to say, at the very end of the segment, they cut to a close-up of Jericho, and he gave this really cheesy smile, this fake smile. And I think it was supposed to be obvious to the viewers right then that they had all been had. He had rused all of them. Now, we're just going to have to wait and see, like I said. I think Brodus Clay's current gimmick is the guy to never re-debut. What's the deal with WWE continuing to push his return back? Well, at first they were going to have him come out, but then due to time constraints, they had to postpone it. After that, Brodus Clay went on Twitter and said that he was going to squash John Morrison on Raw. Now, I guess WWE was not happy with this being leaked out, so they changed plans. They had Morrison do the match with The Miz, and they did that whole storyline. And Brodus Clay was not on Raw at all. And now they've just decided to turn it into a storyline where they keep putting it off, and finally he's going to just be so frustrated that he's going to come out and just go to town on everybody. And I think the perfect place to do it is the Royal Rumble at this point. Just have him come out and just lay to waste everybody because he's so angry. He's so frustrated that they've been pushing him back, and finally he just lets loose. And we'll have to wait and see where things go with that. Do you think commentary can make a difference in a match? Because when JR was doing commentary, he could make the most boring match seem exciting and worth watching. Absolutely, I think commentary is very important, and nobody does it better than Jim Ross. The thing with commentary is that the announcer is selling the product. He is making you believe what you're watching is important. And a perfect example is going back to Survivor Series. When The Rock came out, Booker T was like, oh, look, there's The Rock. Now, if it was JR, he would have been like, my God, The Rock is back after 15 years. He's finally back where it all began. You know, he'd be all over the top and animated and would make it seem important that The Rock was back. And another example would be when Jeff Hardy came back to TNA on the first Monday Night Impact against Raw, January 4th, 2010. He came out through the crowd, and Mike Tenay was like, oh, there's Jeff Hardy. You know, he was very unenthusiastic, and Jeff Hardy just ended up being another guy. It meant nothing. So, yeah, commentary is very important and crucial to the product being successful, I think. The commentary is sometimes just as important, if not more important, than what's actually going on in the ring and what the storylines are. After WWE did the one-night stand in Old School Raw, do you think they would do some kind of one-night-only WCW show? I think I've mentioned this before. I highly doubt it. The thing with WCW is it had a lot of similarities to WWE. And, you know, with the ECW, it was very much its own distinguished brand. And it was only 4 years apart from when they did the first one-night stand. It was only 4 years removed from the final ECW show. So it was fairly easy to bring back some of the old guys and do a show that resembled the old ECW. If you did a WCW show now in 2011, or 2012 now, excuse me, I mean, what would happen? You would have Hall and Nash come out and spray paint Lenny Lane? Would you have Goldberg come out and squash a guy in 2 minutes? Would you have, you know, a main event with 20 guys running in and then Tony Schiavone saying, we're out of time, fans? I mean, what would you do exactly that would make it seem unique, and what would be the purpose behind it? Just don't think it's going to happen. Too much time has passed, and I don't think people would really be into it that much. You have any idea what the WWE might do with Mick Foley, Booker T, and Kevin Nash at WrestleMania? I would love to see all three of them have their own individual matches with the new guys. I think that would be really awesome. What do you think? Well, of those three guys, I think the most likely candidate to have a match would be Mick Foley. Mick Foley kind of teased that he wanted to do a match with a younger guy, maybe like somebody like The Miz. Booker T's already done his feud with Cody Rhodes, so I don't see Booker T doing a match. I think it's more likely he just does commentary, and for the time being, I think Kevin Nash is done. I don't expect to see Kevin Nash anytime soon in a WWE ring. So of all the three guys, the best chance is Mick Foley, but I think they might hold off a little bit longer with him and let him get into the ring shape to be able to perform at a WrestleMania level. So we'll see. Alright, that'll do it for the first edition of NoDQ&A video for 2012. Thanks a lot for checking out the videos. Make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQCAW. And I got a lot more coming this week, so stay tuned.